Hi guys, this is Manmohan Seko, and in this video we're gonna talk about selection statement. So what are selection statement? Normally in any program, the statements are executed from top to bottom. First the statement 1 will execute, then the statement 2 will execute, then the statement 3 will execute, and it will continue till all the statement that we have in our program. But if we have to control whether to execute any particular statement or not, then we have to use selection statement. So selection statement are of two types. First one is if, another one is switch. Switch we'll be talking in next tutorial. So in this program and this tutorial we'll be talking regarding if. So there are three type of if. One is if, another one is if else, and third one is if else if ladder. So let's start with if. In if we have a condition, then we have statement to execute. As I already talked about that normally the Java program execute from top to bottom. In this one, if we have one statement and we have a condition, and value of condition can only be true or false. If a condition is true, then this statement will execute. If condition is false, then the control will not run this statement. It will come just out of if block. If we have only one statement, then we need not put a curly bracket. You can put a curly bracket, but it is not compulsory. But if you have more than one statement after if we have statement 1 and we have statement 2, then we need to put curly bracket. If we are not putting any curly bracket, then only the statement 1 will be part of if otherwise both the statement 1 and statement 2 will be part of if we are putting block, this opening curly bracket and closing curly bracket. So what we told, if condition is true, statement will execute. If condition is false, then statement will not execute. Let's do one program for this one. I want to check if A is greater than B. So for that means I have to check only if A is greater than B. I'm not checking if B is greater than A. So for that, what we have to do, we have to write down class. Let me write down the program check, and then we write down public static void main. I'm writing a short form, but when you type in computer, we have to write down public static void and then main. And I'm not getting a value from a user. I'm just initializing the value. So I'll give a fixed value to A. I'll give fixed value to A is 5 and int B equal 6, and then I'll check if and A greater than B. If you see A greater than B, it will give a value either true or false. Then I'll write down, I'll start opening bracket system dot out dot println, and here I write down A greater than B, and then I'll close this bracket, and then at last I write down system dot out dot println. That's, I'm writing just a short form. I'll write down end of program. And then this main close, and this one is closing of a class bracket. So if you see, what is the value of A? 5. What is the value of B? 6. 5 is greater than 6. 5 is greater than 6. So this condition is false. What I told you, if a condition is false, then this statement will not execute. Where it will go? It will go outside block, whatever the block, opening and curly bracket. Because there is only one statement, then these brackets are not compulsory, but I always put bracket. So what it will be the output? The output will be end of program, because this condition was false, so this statement did not execute. Let's change the value of A and B. Suppose the value of A is 10 and value of B is 7. 10 and the value of B is 7. Now this condition is true. If a condition is true, then this is a part of a if. It will print a greater than b, and then it will print end of program. Because this is not part of if, it will always execute whether a condition is true or false, but the only part we are controlling with if is this one. If a condition is true, then this part will run. If a condition is false, then this part will not run. And this, because this is outside if, it will always run whether a condition is true or false. So this program is only checking if a is greater than b. Now if there is a circumstance that we have to check if a is greater than b or b is greater than a, for that type of conditions we have to use if else. So how do we use if else? So let's start with syntax. In a if else, we have if, then condition, and here I write down statement 1, else statement 2. If a condition is true, then statement 1 will execute. If condition is false, then statement 2 will execute. Both of them will never execute, only one of them will execute. The rule for a bracket will be the same as we did in if. If there are more than one, if there is only one statement, then it's our choice whether to put bracket or not. But if there are two statements, statement 1 and statement 2, then we have to put curly bracket. So if there are more than one statement, then we have to use curly bracket. So if condition is true, then the statement 1 will this statement will execute, and if condition is false, then this statement will execute. You can have if without else, but you can never have else without if. So whenever we use else, it should have first if. Only else can be part of a if, but as we already did, there was a if when we did not use else. So whenever you use else, it should have if. But one more thing, with the else you will never put condition. We are putting condition with if, but with else you will never put condition. But if you have to put a condition, you have to use if. So we'll write down a program for this one. The same program, a is greater than b or b is greater than a. So for that, what I'll write down? Class, and here I write down again check public static void main, and here I write down two value. What was the int value of a was 5 and the value of b is 7. And here again I'll write down if a is greater than b, because I'm using condition. Condition will always give value true or false. If a is greater than b, then what I'll write down? System dot out dot println. You have to write down in complete, like you won't be using a shortcut when you write down a program in IDE Java integrated environment. So what will system dot out dot println, what I'll write down? A is greater than b, then we'll close this bracket, else again bracket system dot out dot println b is greater than a, and here we close the bracket. If there is only one statement, we need not put a bracket. Okay, so then this is a bracket, these are the bracket for if, these are the bracket for else. Then at last I'll write down system dot out dot println end of program, and here we close main, and last we close class. One more thing, if you see the bracket that we open first, we close that last. Now what's the value of a? Value of a is 5. What is the value of b? 7. 5 is greater than 7? No, it is false. If condition of if is false, then which part will run? It will go to else part. I already told you, in a else will not use condition, so it will go to else part. So what it will print, what will be the output? Output will be B greater than A, and then it will print end of program, because this end of program is not part of else, because we close the bracket for else over here. So this is not part of if or else. So this one is separate. So what it will print B greater than A and end of program. But if I'll change the value of A to 7 and value of B to 3, then what will be the output? Then this condition will be true, because the value of A I changed it to 7 and value of B is 3. Then what it will print? It will print A greater than B and end of program. So in this one, so what we learned, we have if else. First we did if, now we have if else. We have choice whether if condition is true, then the first part will run, else the second part will run. Now we have if else if ladder. If else if ladder, like if we have more, here we have only two conditions, either A is greater than B or A is smaller than B, or vice versa. Suppose we have to check whether A is greater than B, or A is smaller than B, or A is equals to B. So there are three conditions. If we have more than two conditions, then we have to use if else if ladder. So we can have any number of conditions, there is no restriction. So for what we have to do, in a if else if, so we'll start with if, so we'll start with if, then we'll write down condition, and then statement 1, then else, again we write down if, condition, then statement 2, again we can write down else if, condition, then statement 3, then else if, condition, and statement n, and last we'll write down else statement 10. Suppose take an example, statement 10. If you see here, we started with if a condition is true, then statement 1 will execute and all other statement will be skipped, not like these condition will not run. If so, I told you that we'll never put condition with else, but I did it over here. But if you see, I didn't put it with else. With the else I used if, then I used condition. So what I'll do, if condition is true, then statement 1 will execute. If condition is false, then it will go to else part, and again it will check here condition. If condition is true, then statement 2 will execute and the rest of the statement will be skipped. But if this condition is false, again it will go to, because if you see for this if, this else is there, for this if, this else is there, if, this else is related, and last if we have this else. If none of the condition are true, condition 1 is false, this condition is false, this condition is false, this condition is false, then last one else will run. Means one of the statement has to run. If not all in any program, if all the conditions are false, then else part will always run. Let's take an example. Now we have to check if A is greater than B, or A is less than B, or A is equals to B. For that we have to use if else if ladder. I'll write down class check, and then we write down public static void main, and here I write down two values, int A equals 5, comma B equal 7. And if I write down if A is greater than B, what will be the answer? System.out.println, what we have to print? A is greater than B. If you see, A is greater than B. Then we close this if, then next we write down else if A is less than B. So what will be write down here? Which is greater? B is greater than A, because here we have less than sign, here we have greater than sign. And last we can write down else system.out.println, both are equal, and last we can write down system.out.println end of program. It's just a line I'm writing to show you that this line will always execute even if let's take an example. A is equals to 5, b equals 7. A is 5, b is 7, so this is false. So where it will go? It will go to next state else part, because for this if, this else is related. So if a is less than b, what is the value of a? 5. What is the value of b? 7. 5 is less than 7. This condition becomes true. If this condition is true, what it will print? B is greater than a, end of program. Because any of the statement, if this is true, then this part will run and then it will come out of block, means if else if block. So what is this one is not, does not belong to this any of the if or else, so it will print end of program, and that's the check of if else if ladder. We have different program for if else if ladders that we'll be doing in another tutorial, like to find percentage or grade that we'll be using with if else if ladder, or we have to find tax percentage, or what is the person grade. All those things we can do with if else if ladder, and we'll be having a separate series for all these program. Last one we'll be doing nested if. So what is nested if? If we have if and another inside another if. Let's take an example syntax. If I have written, if I write down if condition and then I have written if condition statement 1 else statement 2, and here I have written else statement 3. So in this one, if you see, if this condition is true, then our control will go inside this if. This is a block for this if. This if else is inside this if. So if condition is true, then it will go over here and it will check condition again. So if it is true, then the statement 1 will execute. If condition is false, then statement 2 will execute. If this condition is true, then this else part will never run. This else part can have inside it have if and else, any number of if else. It can have if else if ladder, or it can have only if. If this condition is false, then this else part will run. So this is known as nested if, means one if inside another if.